I watched a man lose control in a quiet town outside Phoenix. Daniel stands inside a small kitchen under dim evening light. His daughter Lily sits at the table, holding a pencil loosely. Daniel places his worn boots near the door without speaking. Lily's breathing becomes uneven with soft, strained chest movement. Daniel turns quickly toward Lily with sudden concern on his face. He reaches for an inhaler placed near the edge of the table. Lily grips the table tightly as her breathing grows more shallow. Daniel kneels beside her with visible tension across his expression. The inhaler rests uselessly in his hand after no clear improvement. Daniel lifts Lily carefully, with urgency visible in his posture. He moves quickly toward the door with controlled but rising panic. The truck engine starts with a rough sound in the quiet street. Streetlights blur across the windshield during the fast night drive. A distant siren echoes faintly somewhere across the empty roads. Daniel's hands tighten around the steering wheel with visible strain. His eyes stay fixed ahead, with fear growing behind them. The truck suddenly jerks as the engine struggles under pressure. A warning light flashes bright red across the dashboard panel. The vehicle slows abruptly in the middle of the dark road. Daniel slams the steering wheel with a sharp burst of frustration. He looks at Lily, whose breathing becomes dangerously weaker. He steps out quickly into the empty road under dim lights. A passing car speeds by without slowing or noticing his presence. Daniel waves both arms desperately into the darkness ahead. Another car appears slowly from the distance with dim headlights. It stops several feet away with hesitation from the driver inside. A man steps out carefully, watching Daniel with guarded eyes. Daniel speaks urgently about his daughter, needing immediate help. The man studies Daniel's face with a tense, unreadable expression. The man nods slowly and opens the back door without speaking. Daniel carries Lily inside with careful but shaking hands. The car moves forward quickly through the silent night streets. Daniel watches Lily closely as every second feels painfully heavy. The man drives steadily, with focused eyes on the road ahead. Hospital doors open wide under bright, artificial white lighting. Medical staff rush Lily away on a rolling bed without delay. Daniel stands still, watching from a short distance behind them. A doctor approaches Daniel with a calm but serious expression. Daniel listens silently as the doctor explains an urgent procedure. Daniel's face stiffens after hearing the cost of immediate treatment. He lowers his eyes slowly as the weight settles heavily inside. The doctor steps away, leaving Daniel standing alone in silence. Daniel looks around, but the driver who helped him is gone. Only the echo of hurried footsteps remains in the hallway. Daniel walks slowly outside into the dim hospital-side walkway. He sits on a metal chair under a flickering overhead light. Daniel leans forward with both hands covering his face tightly. His shoulders shake slightly as pressure builds inside his chest. He whispers quietly that he cannot fix this situation anymore. His voice breaks as he admits he does not know what to do. Silence surrounds him as his breathing slowly begins to steady. Daniel lowers his hands and stares at the empty ground ahead. A memory forms of a worker standing nervous at a job site. The worker faces anger from a supervisor during a tense moment. Daniel remembers stepping forward to share blame for the mistake. The worker's relieved face stays clear inside Daniel's memory. Another memory surfaces of a stranger at a roadside weeks earlier. Daniel had stopped briefly when others ignored that stranded man. He offered a short ride without asking anything in return. Daniel exhales slowly as tension begins to loosen inside him. He stands up from the chair with a calmer, steady posture. He walks back toward the hospital entrance under bright lights. A nurse approaches him with a focused and direct expression. She tells Daniel someone is waiting and asking to see him. Daniel follows her down a quiet hallway filled with soft echoes. He stops after seeing the worker from the construction site. The worker stands still with a serious but grateful expression. Another older man stands beside him, dressed in formal clothing. The worker speaks softly about remembering Daniel's earlier kindness. The older man explains support for urgent medical assistance cases. Daniel listens without speaking as the situation becomes clear. The man confirms full coverage for Lily's immediate medical treatment. Daniel stands frozen as the meaning slowly settles into place. Relief begins to replace the heavy pressure across his face. The worker glances back toward the hallway with quiet recognition. Daniel turns and sees the same driver standing at a distance. The driver nods slightly before turning away without saying anything. Daniel watches silently as the man disappears around the corner. A quiet realization forms across Daniel's calm but stunned expression. Lily rests in a hospital bed under steady medical equipment lights. Her breathing becomes stable, with gentle, rhythmic chest movement. Daniel sits quietly beside her, with softened eyes and calm posture. Days pass slowly with careful monitoring and steady recovery progress. Lily opens her eyes with a faint but peaceful expression. Daniel stands outside the hospital, watching the sunrise quietly. He breathes deeply, without the same weight pressing on him. He no longer holds everything tightly inside his chest. He begins each morning with honest thoughts instead of pressure. His movements feel lighter, though his life still carries challenges. Daniel speaks calmly when asked about that difficult night. He admits he once believed strength meant handling everything alone. He looks down briefly before continuing his quiet reflection. He explains how admitting weakness changed something inside him. His expression remains steady as he describes that moment clearly. Daniel says clarity came after he stopped pretending to stay strong. He explains how small actions shape outcomes over time, quietly. He remembers the worker and that simple moment of shared blame. He understands how that moment returned when it mattered most. Daniel looks forward with a calm sense of grounded awareness.